everybody, and welcome back to my channel, Just Draw Something, where we learn to draw together. Today, we will be learning how we can improve our drawing in just 10 minutes. This method has been well known throughout different artists, and all of us artists kind of use this method when we are trying to improve. All right, guys, I will be drawing with my iPad Pro, and I'll be using Procreate. It is not necessary to use Procreate. You can use a pencil and paper if you want, Photoshop, Paint Tool Side, whatever you got. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get started. All right, guys, we are going to start by breaking down a few images. The first image is a face. We are going to start by drawing the head shape, which is a simple circle, and adding lines to find the placement of the features on the face. You can do this in any order you want. Usually starting in the middle of the circle is the best method for me. I use the middle of the circle to place the eyebrows, and then I work my way down, finding the eyes, ears, nose, mouth, jaw, and chin. I find it important to trace over the eyes so that way I can get familiarized with how to draw them in the corresponding style. After I find these features, I will try to figure out the hairline if necessary. When recreating my version of the image, I will try to position my lines to match as close as possible. Don't worry if it's not perfect, because we aren't aiming to copy the image. Our goal is to understand the placement so we can recreate something similar without the image. I would suggest to place your recreation sketch image over the reference image to see how accurately you are placing each feature. This is a good tactic and good practice for new and advanced artists. Make sure to draw the features in after placing your lines to familiarize yourself with placement. Repetition is key to learning from muscle memory. By doing this several times a day, your muscle memory will know exactly where to place these features even without guidelines. Although I am drawing hair in this video, I will be covering that in a future video. As you can see, I am having a little bit of a problem drawing the eyes. Try to look at your reference more than looking at your drawing. A lot of newer artists forget this little tip, and most times their images may be a bit distorted after they finish. This is because your mind keeps filling in the blanks with its best guess, so keep an eye on your reference as much as possible. Constantly readjust your image, but don't spend too much time on any given area. This could lead to an overworked area. Keep moving along till the proportion looks right in your eye. If you still can't get the proportion down, try laying down the grid lines in Procreate, or try drawing on grid paper. As you can see, I'm drawing the hair. A quick tip on drawing hair is follow the curve of the skull or the circle. Make sure to always draw hair off the scalp. I will usually draw the hair a bit off the top and the sides of the head. That's because hair doesn't naturally lay flat on the head. After you have all the features laid down and the hair the way you want it, start erasing guidelines or turn off your guidelines layer. Drawing may look distorted till the guidelines go away. This is probably why I shut the guideline layers off several times through my video. Alright, next up is Pikachu. Drawing cute little creatures tends to be a bit easier for me because they use a lot more simple shapes than humans. We will start with a circle for the head, in this case it's more oval. We will then mark the facial features and find other simple shapes throughout the body. This is only preference, but I like drawing my recreation image on a separate layer. Just like before in our portrait images, place all your shapes and features you are using to recreate the reference image before you start your outline of the character. From there, keep building up details till your image is as close to the reference as possible. Don't forget, we are trying to better understand the placement and shapes of these drawings, so we can use them in our own style of artwork. So we want our recreation image to be similar, but not the same. After you think all the shapes are placed well enough, it is time to outline our drawing and add more details. Now, just keep building up your lines to sort of make it look similar and adjust any other areas that may look off proportion in your eyes. Remember, our aim here is not to draw a masterpiece. We are doing breakdowns to better understand what basic shapes are in these drawings. When you understand the basic shapes and forms of the character, you can draw these characters in multiple positions. For example, if you understand how to draw a cube, it isn't that hard to draw a cube at another angle. This is why breakdowns are so helpful in learning how to draw fast. I just realized I didn't go over how I drew the tail. Honestly, I just counted the little indents for the tail and I made a zigzag in accordance to how many indents there was in the tail. So that's pretty much it. And then I, as always, took my sketch layer and put it over the reference image to see how closely I got to replicating the reference image. From this point on, I am just being the perfectionist that I hate being. I am just filling in some small details and heavier inking some of the lines just so that way I can get this sketch to pop more. I don't recommend doing this because this is not going to be a finished piece of work. This is just a practice sketch. I also like practicing my inking, so I just want to make sure that my inking is on point just as much as me practicing a reference pic. So feel free to ink, but I don't recommend it. Moving on to the next image. Alright, poses like this seem hard. Humans use a lot more complicated shapes to achieve their forms. However, you can use a simple stick figure and shapes to replicate these poses. I've been breaking down poses for so long, I find it pretty easy to break down from reference. I would like to say, when creating your own original work, always use a reference, but make sure to change your image so it's not an exact duplicate of the reference image. Just like the drawing before it, always identify landmarks within the pose so that way you can recreate the pose. For instance, I put circles on all the joints so that way I know where those joints line up, so that way I can recreate them in my own original piece, as you see here. If you guys are confused about why a hand is popping out in a certain area, it is always best to try to draw the unseen. So if you see that it's going behind her rib cage, just like I did, I recreated it to the best of my knowledge. So after that, I would create a new layer and change the opacity down on your sketch layer. I would then start outlining the sketch that I just did for this pose and adding all the landmarks that I drew on the reference picture. Make sure you always draw the center line. For example, if you look at the chest there, I put a line down the center of her body in the reference photo, so that way I know where to place the breast, to place the leg, and to place the crotch area. Make sure to keep on placing details in your picture, but don't focus on one area too much. You want to avoid overworking an area as much as possible. After you are done learning the shapes and forms, I would suggest to maybe draw this once or twice again, just so that way your muscle memory can learn where to place all of these key features. Sorry guys, I can't seem to stop drawing hair. Alright guys, that is the end of the video. Hopefully you learned something new today. Now, I say less than 10 minutes because you will definitely learn something within those 10 minutes of breakdowns. I just took images from Google and I started breaking them down. It helped me understand how to draw those, and you will be able to draw those sort of things in different poses, in different versions of themselves, and you will be able to draw original art created by you with those same principles. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that bell for notifications. Have a great day, guys.